Good morning once again, and thank you for watching Sunrise at Sea this morning. If you just joined us, you are right in time for the favorite segment of the show, our views. And I am joined by my colleagues, the usual ladies, Sarah and Shivan. My name is Sandra Kopp, and today what we'll be discussing, I was actually with a friend a few days ago, and she was telling me that she got attacked as she was heading home on a Boda Boda. Now this was at about 10 p.m. and she wrote to us here on Sunrise at Sea because she wanted to know what is happening. And it read, "Dear CTV Sunrise, a few days ago I was almost mugged, beaten and maybe killed. I hop on this border and he totally takes a wrong route, tries to grab my bag. That is when I jump off the border screaming on top of my voice and in shock that 3 guys almost ganged up on me to take my phone, laptop and the little money that I had. Same day a friend's phone was snatched and she was terribly beaten. I have also had stories of my colleagues whose phones and laptops have been stolen while in taxis and on borders, but why she preferred to remain anonymous." So ladies, why do you think the escalating surge of insecurity?
Poverty.
I mean, the poverty has always been there, yes, but why the escalate? Why now?
We've just recovered from COVID-19. People do not, I'm not saying that should be an excuse as to why we have, so much theft going on. But I'm just saying, I mean, people have just recovered from COVID-19. People do not have sources of livelihood and they're looking as pickpocketing as the way to go. But also we have so many youth that are employed, that are unemployed on the streets of Kampala. So an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
No. If there's anything that has ever been constant in this country, it is crime by border borders. And that I say with absolute confidence. Before the pandemic, during the pandemic, after the pandemic, it's just that it has kind of become the norm that nobody makes a big deal out of it, which is just quite unfortunate. I have had a similar experience with the Boda Boda. I was leaving Bugolobi on my way home. It was about 9 p.m. 9 p.m. I was leaving Bugolobi. I boarded a border from Shell, Bugolobi. So I was on my way to Bukoto. So instead of the gentleman going through Lugogo bypass, which is also not a safe route, whether in a car or border, he goes through the Kololo airstrip. He says that let's use a shorter cut. So me, oblivious, I'm like, it's okay. Whatever is shorter, faster, get me home, let's go. We go through there. So just as we were as we passed Kololo, I mean the airstrip, and we continue going ahead, where the, I don't think I can say that place on TV, but we are inside Kololo, right? I don't want to give, because, listen, no, I cannot be mentioning businesses. Anyway, so we are inside Kololo, and then he just comes to an abrupt stop. But I had noticed that he was on the phone, but he was telling someone in Zija. Yeah?
Yes.
So little did I know, he stops, makes an abrupt stop, and then behind me I didn't notice there was another border with a guy on it. So they jump off that border and they come and hold me in a neck hold and pressed so hard on my vocal cords, I lost my voice immediately. I could not scream.
Oh my
so
God.
I knew that they were going to rob me. For me, I was like, the best thing that could happen for me today is let them take my handbag, because it could be worse. I could have gotten raped or beaten up. So I just lift my bag up like this. I just surrendered. I didn't put up a fight. Got the bag and he pulled it from my neck. It was the cross bag. So it ripped and cut my neck. I go running down towards the airstrip. This gentleman stops in his cab and he asks me, "Are you okay?" I could not speak. He's like, "You're bleeding." I didn't even know I was bleeding. So he gives me his phone and tells me, "You write directions to your house." Takes me home. The next day, it did not even occur to me that had happened until about a month later, when again I was at Shell Bukoto at 9 p.m. and I wanted to go home. I got onto a border and I had a mental breakdown. I started freaking out. So this is the thing. It has always been the norm. I know a lot of people, friends and family, who have been robbed and attacked by border people at night, during the day, pre-COVID, post-COVID,
Yes.
during COVID. So it is not that it is poverty, that because
It's-
people are struggling to recover from COVID-19.
It has just
this
become
has always
the
been
trend.
the norm. And actually, when the president did allow the borders to start operating past 7 p.m., I was, for lack of a better word, a part of me was just terrified, because I was like, these people actually harm. Okay, not all of them, but they are people who harm people and are using border borders as a means to make their criminal activities a lot easier.
So, which brings me to my next question. And when she was telling me this, I was thinking, because it was about 10 p.m., do you think curfew on border borders should be reimposed?
I think so. I absolutely think so. It may come as an insensitive, or perhaps I'm speaking from a place of privilege, where there's some people who actually depend on this means of transport to get to get
their
home
workplaces
to their
at
workplace,
night.
because now the bars are open. The people who work at night, the people who work in hospitals, who have night classes or whatnot. But if not curfew, then a stricter and more reliable way to control them should be put in place.
What's your take,
I
Shima?
don't think so, because even when we had curfew on border borders, still we had high crime rate. So instead of reinstating curfew on border borders, the issue should be, can we look at the underlying issues? How best can we actually put a law or reduce on the crime rate that is taking place using borders? Because even if you say, okay, let's have curfew of about 7 p.m. The last time I was robbed, the last time my phone, my handbag was snatched by a border, it was at 7 a.m. in the morning. So what are you going to say? It was still by a guy on a border. So me, I do not think curfew is the way to go. Instead, I think security officers and the government at large and citizens, each one should be a watchdog of themselves, and more needs to be done to look at
How?
the
If you
underlying
have
issues.
to get a border, you're a lady, you have to get a border at night, at whatever time at night, and you have to get home. How are you going to be a watchdog
But
when you're going to be?
There's some situations that will always happen regardless of how you take care of yourself, because I will say, for example, if you're getting on a border at night, you might want to have pepper spray, you might want to have a taser, but I mean, what are the chances that you will be able to fight against this border man? What are the chances? So maybe we need to be more cautious and say, okay, fine, I'm going to take a border. Do I have his number plate number? If you may want to say, maybe can I use a safe border? If I'm using a normal border, how about you take a picture of the number plate? Tell the guy, turn this side, I need to take a picture of your face and I see how you look. But also I think let's go the extra mile to just take necessary precautionary measures and just not wait for security to keep us safe.
What precautionary
Be
measures?
proactive. Be proactive. Don't
How?
border without a number plate. There are people who board borders without number plates. Be proactive. You're moving in traffic jam. Your windows are down. Border men sit on borders and snatch phones throughout the window. Put up your window. Be proactive. Be on the lookout constantly. There are some things that are unavoidable, and circumstances will always happen, and you find yourself in a situation and you did not see this coming, because there will be instances you'll be moving your things on the road and someone snatches your bag. You couldn't have avoided that because you did not expect it to happen. But at the same time, let's just be proactive and take precautionary measures where necessary. If you're getting onto a border, take a picture of the number plate, get to know the guy's name. You could even ask him for his national ID if you want. Take extreme measures. If you're someone who works at night, for example, how about you ask a friend for a lift? Or if you're going to take a border, for example, you work in a bar and you're taking a border, get the number plate, get the guy's number also, call and see, does the number go through? Send it to a friend and say, okay, this is the guy I'm going with, this is his number plate, this is his phone number, just in case anything happens. So, I
understand where you're coming from, but I feel we are kind of burying our heads in the sand.
Exactly.
Like, oh
But
my
you
goodness,
have
this
got
is
to
happening.
be
Why aren't we holding the
proactive.
people who are supposed to ensure internal security
Thank you.
responsible? Because security is a fundamental
unless
human
you're
right.
saying that every single time you're moving on the road, there is going to be an askari behind you.
No, it's not what I'm talking
The
about.
police
Let's have
is
a
not
look
going
at
to
this.
constantly be there in one way or the other. You have got to be proactive and make sure that you're security cautious at all times.
We are not disputing what you're saying.
Absolutely.
We are agreeing with that, but it is not enough, because there are people who have taken these precautions and still been robbed and still been assaulted and still
Yes.
been murdered.
They are.
It is not enough. Security forces also have to take charge, and we have to
Absolutely.
hold our government accountable.
Yes.
It is not enough. That is not enough.
It's not.
I actually do believe either curfew be enforced, maybe not at 7 p.m. but perhaps 9 p.m. But also I would like for all border borders to be put under different organizations. So for instance, there's Safe Border.
Yes.
So if you got robbed or attacked by a Safe Border after you ordered
Yes.
one from the app, you can always follow up and say that this guy is the one who did harm to me.
Yes.
So I feel like all border borders in the country should be put under small organizations or companies such as this, so that we can have a monitoring and tracking system on
I
them.
completely agree, Sarah. Now, if we have a look at this, following the June 2021 assassination attempt on Uganda's transport minister and former army commander, General Katuma Wamala, President Yoweri Museveni suggested mandatory global positioning system, that's the GPS tracking of all private and public vehicles. This includes motorcycle taxis, commonly known as Boda Bodas, and motor vessels. Museveni also suggested collecting and storing the palm prints and DNA of every Ugandan. Now, as I said, this was in June 2021. What has taken it so long? We're supposed to have a tracking system for
Yes.
border borders. So this died out. What is being done? Why don't they do it much faster? It should have been done like yesterday.
Absolutely.
Yes. So this is what we should be doing, Shiva. Not say, let's be proactive. Yes,
No,
we
no,
have
no.
to be
Yes,
proactive,
the I
but
think
they
you're
have to
missing
pick
the
up
point.
their
Even
weight
while
as well.
security is doing what they ought to do, because as a citizen you have a right to make sure that whatever place you go to, you're safe and secure. Yes, we are not disputing that fact. However, as a citizen of Uganda, it is also your obligation to make sure that you're security cautious. Let's not be oblivious to that as well. Even while we're holding security accountable, even you as a person, you should be held accountable. What
But-
are you doing about it?
But what is
They are
the,
not
what
doing
is the
anything
government?
about it.
No,
It's
no.
escalating.
The government should be making this a safe place.
That is
for
true,
us
but
in the
even
first
you as
place,
a
so that we are not
citizen-
on bunkenke all the time.
Yes.
Oh my god, always
Or
having
be vigilant.
Your
Yes, we have to
guard
be
up.
vigilant, but there's only so much that we can do, because right now what this is doing, it is instilling fear, and fear is instilled when you feel unsafe. We are
Exactly.
feeling unsafe. That means the security forces are lagging behind, and they should be doing much more to ensure security.
Also,
Us.
also they should put designated border stages. You know, like you can find the taxis in the taxi park. You understand? And if they're anywhere on the road, they're en route to where it is that they're going. How about we also have designated border stages? Like this, you say for instance, this is in Tinder 2 border stage here, and everybody who is at that border stage is registered, and you have somebody who you can follow up with on this person.
I totally agree. I totally agree. This convo could
I'm
go
even
on and
stressed.
on and on and on. But you can carry it on our social media pages. Please go on. This lady posted we posted her letter on our social media page at CTV Uganda. Go on there and tell us what you think. Should curfew on borders be reimposed because of these escalating instances that have been happening and the insecurity? Well, that was all we had for you on Our Views Part 1 this morning. But don't go anywhere, because Sarah is up next with yet another interesting conversation. We'll see you in a bit.
The big